Good evening and welcome to WOSFL Weekly at 7 o'clock. It's Sunday night. I'm Jonny Baillie. Absolutely delighted to be joined tonight by Thorniewood manager and Glasgow's #1 publican, Adam Coakley. Adam, how are you, mate? You all right?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm
glad
good,
to
mate.
be on.
I know, it's good to have you. I know we've been talking back and forth. I think right at the very start of the season, we were talking about getting you on, so managed to finally convince you to give in. Graces with your presence.
It's not my usual thing, but I thought, why not? I'll give it a go.
No, it'll be fine, mate. It'll be fine. It'll be good fun. So, everybody that's watching, if you are watching on YouTube, remember, get involved and give us any questions, any comments, anything like that. Especially with the games been off. I think there was only 17 games that we had over the weekend, so not as much to talk about in terms of the football. So, if you've got anything that you want to bring up, anything you want Adam and I to discuss, or any questions for Adam or anything like that, then please don't hesitate to get in touch. Also, while you're watching, if you can hit the like button and subscribe to the Pyramid Promotions channel, where you'll get all the content that we are putting out, and you'll see all our previous videos as well. If you're listening on audio form, please remember to rate and review and subscribe on your podcast network. And if you want to support us, you can do so by becoming a member through the link on the YouTube page. Shout out to our sponsors, Roxburgh Insurance Brokers. If you're needing any insurance coverage, then get in touch with the guys at Roxburgh. GLA Chauffeurs will sort you out if you're needing any executive travel. If you're doing any jumping about, stag do's, hen do's, golf trips, things like that, then get in touch with GLA Chauffeurs. And last but not least, BSN Sport. Gary will organise some quality bespoke kit for your team, and you can get in touch with them using the number at the bottom of the screen. Right, Adam, obviously we had a bit of a fair few call-offs. I said we had 17 games. We actually had 18 because I forgot we had a game on Friday night as well. But first things first, have you ever had your weekend ruined by somebody called Amy?
Not yet, no. Well, it was a wee bit yesterday, to be fair. I was gutted that game was off, but I could see it coming a mile away.
I know it wasn't great. It wasn't great, and we were just kind of looking in the studio, just refreshing. But I was surprised a couple of games that one of our old team. I was surprised at Glenafton managing to get that one on. I was just waiting for that one to come up as off. But fair play to the guys, the ground staff and stuff must be different to what it was when we played. I
just thought they would all be off, to be honest with you. I just because of the wind and all that carry on. I thought a lot more survived it than expected, which is fair play. But I was down at our park in 7. I got up at quite early to go down, and it was just puddles everywhere. It was lucky if it makes it next week at this rate, but if it keeps the rain up. But it's unfortunate. But there was a fair few games on, to be fair. Glenafton's park there day was wow. That was a heavy part, wasn't it?
I know. I pretty much got up in the morning. I said everything that's not an Astro is going to be off.
Right.
But it wasn't the case. I mean, we had Glenafton, as I said, Lanark was on, Lark Hall was on, Pollock was on, Vale of Leven was on, Saltcoats were on. So there's a fair few missed beat the weather. So well done to them, and we'll try and cover as many of them as we possibly can. What we're going to do is we're going to start in the leagues with the league fixtures that we're on. Obviously, the big one in the Premier League, Johnstone Borough and Auchinleck was off, but there was one game in the first division, which obviously impacts you guys, Thorniewood, Adam as well. Gartcairn beating Whitlets 3-1. Any thoughts on that? Is it pretty much what you expected the outcome to be?
To be honest with you, Gartcairn are a good side, so I expect them to take care of most teams, especially at home. I know that they'll probably go, well, every team goes through a wee patch and stuff, but they're a good solid team, Gartcairn. And we've not played Whitlets this year. I know they're struggling a wee bit, but at the same time, they've got decent players as well, so they'll probably bounce back and get a few wins, and then it's just a little bit of confidence. I think with Gartcairn are get that. They're in the zone now, aren't they? So they seem to be getting the. I know last week they dropped a couple of points at Peasy, but that's a hard place to go, Peasy. So I wasn't really surprised at that result as well. I fancied Peasy to get something for that. So Gartcairn, good for them to get another 3 points. I suppose they're flying. So they'll be the team to beat in our league, definitely.
Aye, and to be fair, they should have been anyway, because they were probably relegated through, as we know, through the points deduction, and they wouldn't have been close to it if they hadn't got that points deduction and stuff like that. So, and you look at their squad, I mean, some of the players that they've got in that team. I mean, it's effectively a Premier League team playing in the First Division.
Aye, well, I see. The thing is, as well, as I said to you, because I was so engrossed in like our league last year, I didn't really see them or that. But then the first time I seen them was when we played them, and we kind of let ourselves down a wee bit in terms of, I don't know, it was like a kind of nothing type performance. You know what I mean? We weren't bad, we weren't great. We gave them 2 goals and they just done the job. And I thought that you could see it, but they had a couple of real quality. Huts and the boy Lion in the middle of the park are great. You know, they 2 are magic. And obviously they've got the big boy Moore that scores all the goals and stuff. So they're a good side. They're a really good side, but it's just this, you know what, our league, I always say it doesn't really get going till Easter, really, isn't it? It's like, it's just all over the place. So, but
I know, but they're probably doing what we kind of expected them to do, if that makes sense. And I spoke to both managers. We've got loads of manager updates again. So I did speak to Ryan McStay, and he just said he was delighted with the 3 points. Conditions were horrendous, as everybody kind of knew. Witless had the win first half, but they started to compose themselves and grew into the game against the wind. Sometimes it's weird, isn't it? You can play better. You think you'd want to play with the wind, but sometimes you play better against the wind, don't you?
I don't, honestly. So when we played PZ a few weeks ago, we got beat 5-4. We were 2-1 down against the wind. So I'm saying at half time, we get a goal here. It's you know what I mean? And then we score for the kickoff, basically, 2 each. And then we score again. And I'm honestly thinking game over. And Peasy somehow just managed to score every time they went up the park against the wind. So as you said, you're like, it doesn't really make any sense to me. The ball just goes wherever it fancies.
I remember your voice note on the back of that result, and I think you used the phrase which made me laugh out loud when you said the ball was just doing whatever it wanted, and usually it wanted to get in the net.
It was a great game to watch, I'll tell you that. But it had been the same yesterday, I'd imagine, for the Gartcairn game. It just goes, it's sometimes it can look like bad defending and that, but it's no, you know what it's like. You can't catch a flight of the ball, and then sometimes shots are 10 times more powerful as well.
I know, and he was just saying there that the message at half time was clear to get press against them because they had the wind. Adam McGowan scored a great free kick, which I saw.
I've seen that as well.
I think, did you see it on?
The cracker.
And then Jordan Moore put the game to bed. He says they felt they could have added to the score, but some poor decision making. But really pleased with the 3 points, as it was the only game in the league and keeps the unbeaten run going and keeps the confidence high. I spoke to, before we go into Graham Neal, because I'm going to talk about Witless and individually, but Ryan McStay and Darren Barr coming into that job, the expectations would have been on them almost like because I think when we were looking at it from the outside in, we were thinking, are they going to maintain the squad? Is there going to be cutbacks, etc.? But they seem to have backed Ryan and Darren to get the job done and get them back promoted. So how impressed were you with the job that they're doing so far?
I know Ryan as well. Played Ryan at Shots for a bit, and he's a good guy. I didn't, to be honest with you, I think everybody fancies them to do well. They're good coaches and good experience and stuff, and then they've got a good solid squad. So it's just this whole the chance to go straight back up for everybody is so important. So I don't think any team coming down you need to go all in kind of thing to go back up. So, but they'll be fine. Do you know what I mean? They'll be top 3 guaranteed if they win it. They'll deserve to win it. But for me, they're definitely one of the strongest teams in the league. But I look forward to playing them again anyway, put it that way, because it was I thought we weren't far off them. I didn't think they just had to be moments that they punished us. So I'm looking forward to that game again. But the teams in our league, every game's tough. I think it's.
I remember you saying that you felt that at the time, and then on the other side, at the other end of the table, I spoke to Graham Neal, the Witless manager. He was just saying he feels like it sounds like a broken record at time, playing well. Unfortunate to come away with nothing. Scored a well-worked goal, then limited them to a few chances. They get a free header from a corner and go into half-time 1-1. As I said, he felt the free kick that Gartcairn scored from shouldn't have been. But he did say it, ironically, he said, and this is a bit of a theme which I'm really enjoying. He did say, he noted here that he said the ref was probably the best he's had this season in terms of how he managed the game. He said the conditions were farcical, as you know, but they'll go again. They play Lanark next week, which is absolutely huge for them, because it's just, it must be so frustrating because no getting that first win, getting that monkey off your back, it must weigh heavy.
I mean, that's the Lanark's win last week as well at Kilburnie. That's a massive win. That I was surprised in terms of, I thought Kilburnie would have bounced back after their game against us, and then they didn't. So Lanark are kind of good. I didn't think Lanark. I thought they were better than what people give them credit for as well. They're a young side, but full of energy. So that'll be a big game for them next week. But let's have good players. Good players.
Yeah, and I when you're saying that, Craig McGee just put in the chat there, one of our members, just saying, well, let's have spent decent money. Is there much more drop points that can be afforded? And I suppose, Adam, it really just depends on what the expectations have been set by the committee. Because they get promoted last year, they don't have a divine right to go up again. But you look at them coming up.
A lot of people mentioned them, I'm sure, earlier on.
I mentioned them. I thought because of the players that they'd signed, I thought they would be up there competing for that top 8 spot.
They drew the first game, didn't they? Was it 4 each?
They drew Gartcairn 4 each.
Aye. And I like
they mentioned that in every update he gave me from then till now, how he still couldn't get over the fact that they drew that game because Gartcairn were 4-1 up and ended up drawing 4 each. So he was
that is their link to T, isn't it? The big boy Boyd up front. I like. Is it Boyd? Aye.
Yeah, they've got Jordan Boyd, they've got Louis Kerr, Isaac Kerr, they signed Jamie Glasgow, Ali Love.
You know, Ali Love was he was at Rob Roy with me years ago. They're a good side. That's what I did think. They might just find their form soon. They might just be finding their way into the league. So you win 4 or 5 games, you'll be up there. It's no, but I know what you're saying. It's probably that one win they need to then go and get a wee bit of confidence.
It's conceding goals as well. One thing I do say when I'm talking to, when Graham and I are kind of talking about it and stuff, I mean, they've conceded 29 goals in 9 games, you know, so that they're nearly conceding, averaging three goals a game. You know, as a manager, you as a former manager, albeit a rubbish one, but I wouldn't be able to get that out of my head if my team was conceding almost 3 goals a game.
I know it's we've conceded too much. It is hard actually, that, because sometimes you can't put your finger on it, as you know. You're like, and then also you've got 2-3 hours a week and you can't board them with defensive shape and all that stuff. So you're hoping it's individuals that just kind of take the responsibility in the right moments, because ultimately that's what it is. Whether it's the keeper, whether it's usually it's the 2 centre halves, but it's just wee moments. But the amount of goals at our level are insane. It's just relentless. But that's why I find it so entertaining, especially in the last 18 months, where I feel as if there has been a lot more goals, a lot more. It's mad. You can't really predict any score. So, and then the defences don't really always come out on top. So, aye.
I know. But next week for Whitlets is huge against Lanark to go and get that first victory. That'll be a real opportunity for them to go and get that monkey off their back. Okay, well, we're in the first division. How's the season going for you guys at Thorniewood? Happy with how things have been going?
I've a decent enough start. I think pre-season was we started a wee bit later than everybody else, and I took on more games to try and get it was the same kind of group we had in terms of the players, so I didn't really have to work too much on it. Signed a few boys that I signed a couple. I was waiting, obviously, a striker, and I managed to get Pablo in the last, well, not the last minute, but you know what I mean. He was quite late on in, and to be fair, he was massive for us. And we've started well, but it's been a bit. Boys have been away. Roscoe's missed 4 or 5 games. Pablo missed 3 games with weddings and stuff like that and holidays. And the boy Brandon started off, and he left. It's been a wee bit up and down in that sense, but we've found our feet a wee bit more recently. And it's in a good place. The clubs, the boys enjoy it. So we're looking forward to what comes ahead of the season. But definitely, it's with the fixtures that we had at the start. I know I didn't moan at it, but I found it bizarre. We were away from home so many. It was just crazy, especially when a grass park in the summer. I was like, surely they're giving us the run of the games. But we managed to come out of that way. Well, obviously, a win at Darvel and a draw at Rob Roy, which was a really hard game, that Rob Roy game. And at the time, I remember thinking it was a good point. So we've had a couple of wee knocks in terms of what was the one, the Gartcairn one and the Peasy one. But we just got on with it, to be honest with you. The group are they don't really get. They just got on with it. So we're really looking forward to the season, and the team's in a good place.
Mm-hmm. Good. I know it's been a good start to the season. In terms of you and is this your first managerial position?
To be honest with you, I just kind of fell into it because I
know I was going to ask that because obviously we played with each other at Glenafton for a short period, and then I might be wrong here because I wasn't as plugged in as I am now, but it seemed almost like you disappeared and then you just appeared again, you know?
Well, that is basically what happened, so I honestly, the truth, I fell out of love with it so fast. I went to Rob Roy actually with Jimmy Lindsay and that. Remember back in the day we all went, me and Gomes and Kenny Conley and Chick and all that, and it was Aldo Lindsay. Yeah, that it was a great wee team we had, and then I got a bad injury, and then I come back, and then I went to Shots, and then Tony was that squad were great, and they were so focused, and my head wasn't in it, so I just came away from it, to be honest with you. Then I went back and I got into the kind of coaching-ish side where I started my own amateur team. So I would run in the team, and I know it's no coaching, but you're still kind of, me and my mate were doing it, but you're still kind of getting into that zone. I was still playing at the time, but then I did kind of disappear off this kind of side of it anyway for a good 10 years maybe. So, and then Gomes just gave me a phone to say, do you want to come and help me out? And not really be a coach as such, more be like the typical assistant manager role, which, to be honest with you, I absolutely loved. I loved it, and it was unfortunate the way it ended for Gomes in terms of like he just kind of fell out of love with it, and at that time he just wasn't enjoying it, and I could sense that. And then I started thinking, well, maybe I would enjoy it if I stepped in, and then it just all fell into place. So I don't. It's meant to be, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. I know, no, definitely. And like I said, it was for me. It was interesting when I seen you pop up. Do you know what I mean? But obviously, you've done the bit with the manager, the amateur team, and then I knew you were helping Gomes, but I didn't know what you were doing up until that point, if that makes sense. But how is Thorniewood as a club? Because I'll be honest, it's a club I probably don't know that much about, to be honest, mate. I've been there once as a coach. I've never played there. But what's it like as a club?
Thorniewood is a club. I don't know what he's batting at. The club's just a wee club, Bailey. You know it isn't, and you know something, but it's got a great community, like round about to the area with obviously you part Uddingston, the history of the football and stuff. So the whole idea of building this club up, the whole story, obviously, with the man who was involved with Hamilton, obviously came in and he had this plan of building it all up and stuff like that, which is kind of not went that way. But the fundamentals are all in place now, connected with the local boys club teams, and it's because realistically the club is the bare bones. I had nothing compared to all these other teams. No finances, a crap park, nothing. Just so it's definitely getting there, and it's the reputation on the park helps it massively because people then take notice, don't they? They come and watch, or anytime we go away to big grounds, we seem to do okay and gives us a better reputation. But it's a work in progress, I think, off the park, and that definitely is getting there. But because there's a committee, there's more fans, there's more stuff going on. So onwards and upwards, I think, for Thorniewood, but it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to be at the level of any other big club anytime soon, but it's definitely the building blocks are there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so just got a wee question there. Just AJ was asking how long you've been at Thorniewood.
Just a year actually. It was a year ago. October the 10th actually it was, so I can remember it. It was my first game was actually the 19th, but we had a free week the week I took over, so a year.
Mm-hmm. And he was also asking how much the budget is, but I'll not ask you that because we don't talk about budgets on this show. Every manager says that, and I don't really care.
No,
it's one of the most. It's one of the conversations that I hate the most. Is that chat about I don't have this, or we've only got this, and this team's got this, and we were talking about it actually on the show yesterday. I was on a Saturday Football Live with Chris Strain and PG, and we were talking about it, saying your budget's your budget. It's your job as a manager to manage that budget, and if you don't like it, then go away, go somewhere else, go and find a club that's going to give you a budget you're happy with.
It's even the thing with the players' wages and stuff. Like I find it really difficult where it's. I know each to their own, so you can't moan, but it's like the way people would maybe leave to go to another team for £20 extra and not enjoy it versus being somewhere where they enjoy it. I just can't get my head around that. For like it's not as if it's like a massive jump and stuff, but I've tried to strip that back at our club massively, and it's all about the enjoyment and being the togetherness and that, and the budget thing. Maybe when maybe as everybody knew, our budget was nothing really. And then when the sheriff came in, it kind of jumped up. It did. And we got up to the level of other teams, hence why we could sign players. But now it's a way back down again. And we've managed to have players probably on, they would get more at other teams. I know they would, but they like it. And they want to stay here. And I can get players probably at a good price because the environment. So that's the only thing I can sell to them. But no, I just don't think it matters. I think you can.
We spoke about it yesterday. We were saying, we used a couple of examples. So we said, if you look at Largs and Hurlford, for example, with long established managers, and you look at somebody like Lewis Morrison goes to Darvel, probably gets paid a fortune compared to what he was on at Hurlford. But when he's leaving Darvel, he comes straight back to Hurlford, probably because he enjoys it. So on with Hendo. Will Sewell goes to Steny. As soon as he's coming back into the west of Scotland, he comes straight back into Largs, because he probably enjoys it. He likes working with Arnie, etc., things like that. So it makes sense if you create an environment that players are going to enjoy, then that's what it's all about. Looking forward, 4 home games in the bounce now, 2 league games, 2 cup games. Did you sit down at the start of the season? Was the top 8 the aim, or was it just let's win some games and see where we go?
No, we want to try and win the league. So
good. I like that. I love that chat. Good.
Well, there's no. I mean, I know that I've got a good enough group, but I know it's difficult, and I know that other teams are great as well. So, but I think that when we fell at the last hurdle last season, I don't think it was a bad thing for us, right? I don't think it was, right. We ran out of steam. We didn't have enough firepower, and I remember we played a game against Rutherglen at home, and they had Jarvey. They had 4 strikers or something at the time, right? And I thought I knew they would have done, but that's what we needed at the time. And I remember thinking, that's where we fell short, just that wee bit of extra bodies that in the right areas. So no, that's our ambition. Is finish as high as possible, obviously. So I don't even think about the top 8, to be honest with you. It's not being like too cocky or anything like that. I just don't think that you can go into the league thinking like that. You need to go, we should be finishing. We should be up there because we've got the experience of that league now with that same group for 2 years versus teams that have chopped and changed their team a lot, which can go your way sometimes. That's why I think Gartcairn have done well. The group's kind of solid, so it goes along the way that when you're starting 11 doesn't really change that much.
Mm-hmm. So, I agree with you totally. I think continuity is massive. If you look at the teams, that are probably sitting in the kind of top positions in the first division just now, if I can get the table up, you've got Gartcairn who kept most of their squad, St Rochs who kept most of their squad, Irvine Meadow, okay, they had a wee bit of rebuild under Jamie. Ardrossan signed some players, but they've got a nucleus of the squad. Neilston kept most of their squad. Muircut kept most of their squad. Vela Clyde kept most of their squad. Do you know what I mean? It's no surprise that they've all...
That's it. That's the secret. I know the secret, but that's what the teams, when they get solid... But I was really impressed with Neilston actually as well. When you mentioned them there, we beat them. We were 3-0 up against them after 15 minutes, but I was fuming at half time. I thought we got a doing. I really did. And the first time I've actually raised my voice at half time, I was fuming. I was like, I just couldn't believe how we couldn't get the ball off them. So see, when they're beating teams, it does not surprise me at all, that as well. So the teams that have come up, like they are a good outfit, and they'll beat a lot of teams in our league as well. So it's good that there's a couple of extra teams that are throwing their weight about a wee bit in terms of the performances, which is good to see.
Aye, absolutely. Good things happening. At Thorniewood, Peasy's just saying on the wages chat, saying players will inflate their wages to boost their ego, and clubs will play down the wage bill. Of course they will. It happens all over the place, but it's just a weird place because I've never known.
I looked at junior, like our level, the money it's not really for the money. So I know the St Cadix thing and all these teams that's through Johnson Borough and all that kind of made it all crazy, like in terms of you knew what people were paying for players, and that kind of not ruined it for everybody, but it made everybody's inflation all down the leagues, didn't it? Everybody's all of a sudden.
I think I always say to people, if you're playing football at our level for money, then you shouldn't be playing.
Aye.
You
get what you deserve. If you're the best, you should get paid more, and if you're no, you shouldn't, and that's just the way it is. But I think there's a lot of, I wouldn't use the word average players, but people getting paid maybe a wee bit too much for what they're given or what they deserve. But it's probably because they can bounce off of other teams if they've got a few offers, and fair play to them taking their money, because if somebody's willing to pay it, then why not?
Well, listen, you maybe won't say it, but I will. There's a lot of below average players getting far too much money than they should be getting, to be perfectly honest. There's players in the third and the fourth division getting X amount of pounds a week, and I genuinely cannot believe what they're getting paid. But anyway, I don't want to fall out with anybody because my big mouth gets me into trouble sometimes. Okay, we'll move on to the last league game in the fourth division. I don't know how clued up you are in the fourth division, Adam, but we've got EKYM drew 1-1 with Giffnock. I spoke to John DL, the Giffnock manager. So we'll get some new managers as well, because a lot of them I got in touch with. I didn't want to just keep going over the same guys over and over. So John DL's kind enough to give us some updates. He was just saying that it was a game of two halves. Again, the weather. EKYM better team first half and deserved to get 1-0 up. Second half, they tweaked the shape. Wind behind us took control of the game. So again, that's that win thing. He felt EKYM were a good side, good players, well organised, try to play the right way, come away with a point, which could be important coming the end of the season. I think if you were looking at that game beforehand, Adam, I don't know if you know this, but EKYM before Saturday were sitting in 9th, Giffnock were in 10th. They were both sitting in 10 points. They both played 8, won 3, drawn 1 and lost 4. So I think if you were looking at what that was going to be, I think a draw would have been pretty accurate.
Aye, that's exactly what it was meant to be, one each draw. So I know it sounds like another game that's just ruined with the weather. Do you know that? It's I mean, I don't think, even if obviously you're hoping you win in that, but these days are just, you just don't remember them, don't you know? You just hope it goes your way, and that's it. So
I know, and the win's the worst, isn't it? It's
the worst ever. It's just the worst to coach, the worst to pass. Funny enough as well, some of the boys said that to me in Thursday at training. They're like, even if the parts are waterlogged, try and get it off if it's windy. I was like, it's one of the ones where you're like, it's like that's the way they would rather play in a waterlogged part than they would if it was windy. Mm-hmm. It's just so, I don't know. Aye, no enjoyable.
It just ruins the game. You genuinely can't do anything. No. You know, everything kind of goes out the window.
It's never considered, isn't it? It's never considered to call it off, but it's always...
Well, I've mentioned a couple of times. I was coaching for Troon at the time when there was a game called off when Scott Johnson took a by kick and it went back over his head at Largs, and the referee called it off. He says because the ball just wouldn't sit still, so you'd be, and so that has happened sometimes. But I think for me, it needs to maybe be taken a bit more into account because of how much it does ruin it as a spectacle. And especially see on Astros as well, because the ball obviously travels faster on an AstroTurf pitch. So it's just, the ball's just going to be out of the park all the time. You know, but one each draw there. Right, we'll move on to the West of Scotland League Cup. Round 1. I suppose we should start with Pollok v Beath, Adam.
Aye.
Pollok 2-0 up after 63 minutes, I think it was, that Beath get their goal to bring it back to 2-1, and then end up Beath go on and win the game 3-2. Pollok will be massively disappointed at throwing away a 2-0 lead in the last half hour.
And they're kind of neck and neck in the league there as well, aren't they? They're struggling a wee bit in the league. I've seen that. But aye, you're 2-0 up. If you're 2-0 up in any game, you're soul destroyed if you get beat. Simple as that. And it was a great result for Beath, but do them the world of good for their confidence as well. So, you know what I mean?
I don't know. Have you ever been part of that? Have you had many of them where you've had good comebacks? And
well, 2 weeks ago we were on the other end of it. We were 2-0 down with half an hour to go. 15 minutes to go. And we won 3-2 against Kilburn, and it's just probably the best feeling you'll get into it. It's just like 15 minutes of madness, but you can see it coming. And see if I always think, I know it's still just saying in the book when you go, it's not a safe score, but it really isn't football, because that one goal goes and the whole momentum shifts, and it's like waves of attack. So,
and everybody panics, don't they?
I mean, Kilburn just went into a back bloody, I don't know what they've done. They just sat in and they know that they panicked. I don't think they could stop it, but it was like, what can you do when the pressure's on you? And I'd imagine it would have been the same yesterday when Beath maybe went to 2-1 and they were probably in control of the game. But that is a really good result for them. I know Paul.
I spoke to Josh Gardner, the coach at Pollok, and he just says 2-0 up after another, better team, loads of possession, control of the game. Just stopped doing what they're doing for the first hour and capitulated in the last half hour. Really sure one to take. I don't know if you've seen the goals, Adam. I don't know if you've had the chance, but I had a wee look on YouTube at the goals and the defending. defending will be driving Stuart Maxwell and the guys mental. The first goal, boy just wanders in, midfielder just wanders into the box and the ball comes across and he just, nobody near him, he just puts it in the net. And then the third goal as a centre half, I nearly said I was pulling my hair out. If I had any, I would have been pulling it out. But basically, the cross comes in for the right hand side. The centre half's left hand side, and goes over his head, and he turns round, and there's a striker right in front of him. And instead of going and you've got to go across and mark up against the striker, and of course the ball comes back across, and the B striker's just standing with nowhere near him. So it's just centre halves. You mentioned it there. And we had a long conversation with Chris and PG on the show yesterday. It's just centre halves. Just nowadays, they just don't seem to sense danger. I don't know what you feel. How's your centre halves at Thorniewood? Are they good?
I've obviously got Noodles and Big Sidey. Sidey, I mean, they're massively experienced, the two of them. So
give us their proper names for people that are watching.
Callum Nolan. He was at Atherley. Remember, he won the league with Atherley and went to Johnson Borough. Then he came to us. And big Mark Sideserve, obviously, who's bloody won Scottish twice in the West twice, and he's obviously a junior legend at his side. So they're good, but they like to play as well. So they take the chance, and we sometimes play with a 3, we sometimes play with a 4, and we concede too many goals as well. But probably our own downfall in terms of maybe overplaying or whatever it's been. But we try to do the right stuff. We're trying to do what suits our group. So. They sometimes play Stuart Carswell at the back as well if we need to as well. So, generally, I'm quite happy with my centre halves. But I know what you mean. It's wee moments that they'll go and stick their head where it hurts. But I think a lot of them do. A lot in our league anyway. There's a good few centre halves that are decent. St Rock's got a couple of crackers, and we played against Rutherglen 2 weeks ago. Their two were really good centre halves.
It's just sensing danger for me. It's just like when the B striker heads the ball in the net for that third goal, the centre half is almost standing in the exact same position he was when the ball went over his head, and you just can't be doing that when you've got to get yourself in the middle of the goal as quickly as you can to try and defend where the goal is. I don't know what you think you're doing in the outside of the post. He's almost on the other side of the post, so Josh and Stuart Maxwell will be pulling their hair out because I've no doubt they'll be watching that. And we've got a question here for Craig just saying, can you see Maxie stepping down? Nothing seems to be going right for them at the moment. I do not see him stepping down at all. I think he'll see it out. I think they are on a bad run. I don't think they've won a home game this year, I think, but they've obviously completely revamped the playing squad. But like we said, they've had a good result against St Cadoc's in the cup. They beat Rutherglen in the league. So I don't know whether that will give them enough encouragement, but I don't see Maxie stepping down. Do you, Adam?
No, I think that this year was a free hit for the teams to go and redevelop and try out some new young players. And I think what they've maybe tried to achieve, I don't know obviously what exactly what it is, but I imagine it's obviously cutting the budget a wee bit and getting in players, and you can get a couple of gems, and why not? Nobody can get relegated. As I said, I was joking to you when we spoke earlier on in the season about the fact that our league's probably the main league this year, for the fact that there's more the top league, apart from the team that wins it, maybe the teams in the bottom half, it's a kind of dead rubber. So they'll be looking to develop. They'll be looking to develop players, and I don't think Max will be stepping down. They'll have a longer plan, I'd imagine, for this group. So, and then this will do them a world of good as well for getting all these.
If they learn from it. You need to see improvement over the course of the season.
Well, the only way you get is with winning games, as you know, you get confidence, and then all of a sudden you get the swagger back. But if they keep getting beat, then it gets harder. It's harder for them to enjoy it. Then the manager's under more pressure, etc. But it's early days for all that carry on.
And touching on the B side of things, just Craig just saying, a couple of good signings. Brought in Ali Boyle for Auchinleck and Ross Smith for Johnston Borough, who was previously at Auchinleck as well. So they've obviously decided that they're going to target a couple of new signings and spend a wee bit of money going out to try and bolster the squad. So I think that's good that they go and spend that wee bit of money to go and bring boys in.
Did they not get two in loan for Clydebank? Am I right in saying that?
Thomas Collins went back. He's went back to Clydebank. So
they lost. Because I seen that because he done really well. Didn't he? He had I seen he was scoring goals. He done well in that, and I thought they've obviously wanted him back for a reason. So he's obviously done well. So they've replaced him. That's what it's all about. Aye.
So it's good. It's good to get and that win as well in the cup. They beat them at Pollok 1-0 in July, and then go on and beat them again. So they just need to start picking up some points in the league. Like I said, they've played 8. They've only won 2 league games just now. So, but that's a draw in the league against Largs last weekend, and then beating Pollok and Saturday. That kind of result can give you a wee confidence boost going into the rest of the season. Okay, we'll pick it another couple quickly.
Right.
We'll go into the first, a team for the first division, just to give you something to talk about. Adam Glenafton beating Kilbirnie 3-2. So Kilbirnie, no word yet on their new managers. Were you surprised at Colin Spence leaving the post?
No, to be honest with you, I wasn't. I wasn't surprised because I knew that he was. I like him as well. I think he's a great guy. I was actually chatting to him in that game, and we got a good laugh and all that. I felt sorry for him a wee bit in terms of because you know what football's like. He's 5 minutes away from beating us, and then all of a sudden he's lost 2 in a row, and then he's out of job. But I know he was under a wee bit of pressure. He could just sense it, and the results weren't going their way. So maybe it's time for a change for them and to freshen it up. These things sometimes run their courses, you know. But they're a decent side as well. They're got decent players. So whoever takes on that job's got a good group to work with.
PG rattled off a few names yesterday that he'd heard that Kilbirnie were interested in approaching. A few interesting ones that you'll need to go back and listen. I'm not actually going to repeat them because I'm going to make you go and listen to Saturday Football Live on YouTube or on your podcast network. So go back and listen, and you can hear who's been rumoured to be linked with the Kilbirnie job. But Glenafton getting the job done again, like I said earlier, our old team, they've had a great start to the season. Big Paul Payton's doing a great job down there.
He's the half, by the way. I know Pates as well for back in the day, and he's done a really good job, to be fair. Really good job. So good on him, another good result. So
under the radar as well, I feel.
Like weird because you just don't. I've never even came across him in a cup or anything like that as well. Like, like we've not played them or anything, I don't really know anybody that's there, so you kind of don't check the results and that kind of carry on. But they seem to be doing well. I think they play good football as well, so good on them.
Mm-hmm. And they've got Stranraer in the Senior Scottish coming up. You think that you fancy them for a wee upset?
Why not? Honestly, cup games are magic. I think. I mean, we've done really well on them against the bigger teams, and I always say to them, just it's a free hit, go for it. It's like, what is there I lose here? Because if you're not expected to win, then why even be nervous? It's the ones that are the type games that you worry about. You don't worry about these games. If you win 1-0, you're world beaters. If you beat 5-0, nobody even cares. So it's like it's a good opportunity for them. Great opportunity. Is it at home, that one?
I think it's at Stranraer.
Is it?
But somebody will correct me if I'm wrong. One thing I love about this show is people will always correct me when I'm wrong, and I'm wrong fairly often, but they're always quick to let me know. Look there, I'm just saying comments. One, let's see. Oh no, it's no saying. Just say Craig's just saying there's lots of ex-West of Scotland players at Stranraer, which there is. So it'll be an interesting. I
know the goalie, Josh Lane, was at us last year.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent keeper. He was in loan for Hamilton. He went to Stranraer. He's in loan for Hamilton to Stranraer now, but he was outstanding for us. Like, we were just probably too good for us, to be honest. He went straight to Stranraer. They brought him back and put him out to Stranraer. So, and BJ as well was at St Cadix. I know BJ. He's a good player as well. They're up and down with the results, aren't they, a wee bit? Stranraer, so
I think mostly down, but I don't know how they got on yesterday. I'm not too sure, but they got a good. They won. They beat Dumbarton last week, which might have been their first win of the season, and then they get beat off Annan yesterday. So they're currently sitting 9th in the league on 5 points. They've only from 9 games. Edinburgh City are now only 5 points behind them, and that Edinburgh City with a 15-point deduction. So Edinburgh City have ate into that massively.
I quite like that manager, by the way. I like his interviews and that. I think he's quite intriguing.
Do you know what it seems like? And I know we're getting off topic a wee bit here, but it just seems like the pressure's just off. Is like we've got docked 15 points. Let's just go. Let's just enjoy ourselves, because
galvanised them. It's galvanised them.
It has.
And it's even sometimes if you strip things back and there's no confusion and there's clarity, then it gives everybody a chance. And I heard him yesterday. I listened to his interviews quite a lot actually, and he was saying they only have 2 subs and stuff. And great, like he's running away. I think he had 2 16-year-olds and a 17-year-old. That is the future. Mm-hmm. So good on them for that.
It just seems like the pressure's just completely off them, and now they could be motoring down to catch Stranraer. So it's a worrying time for Stranraer if they're getting caught by the end of Christmas with a team that had 15 points behind. But anyway, we'll move on. We'll talk about Knightswood and Dalry, because I spoke to both managers. Dalry winning 1-0. Okay. So Chris Wilson, the Dalry manager, says that he's actually in Tenerife. I can't believe he's on holiday during the season. It's got to be a fine, the manager going away during the season.
I used to get away lots. I can't go away anymore. It's murder. She's going to kill me.
At least you're committed. But he says that the feedback he got was they missed a few one-on-ones before half-time, hit the bar twice, made it harder work for ourselves than it should have been, but delighted to be through. Fair play to Knightswood for staying in the game after they had a man sent off and making his work right through to the 90 minutes. And then I spoke to Michael Pender, the Knightswood manager. He says they took the opportunity to rest a few boys carrying knocks and rotate the squad, and it showed in their performance. They disjointed in the first half. Freak goal due to the weather conditions saw them trail at the break. They were better in the second half, but didn't take chances. Better decision making needed. Congratulations to Dalry on their victory and best wishes in the next round. Is that something that you have thought about in terms of the cups rotating the squad?
We did last week against Stonyburn. A young boy was just tapping at the door big time. He was training, was excellent, and young Reece Goldie, and he's been in the squad. He's been in my squad and scored. I actually gave him his debut when Gomes was on holiday, and I took the team and I put him on, and he scored the winner against Ashfield. And he's been training me since he's been 16, and I thought I'm going to start him. So he got man of the match and he got a goal, and I gave a couple of boys a game. But to be honest with you, there's not a big enough squad. So I don't really when you're part-time, rotating the squad and resting people, and then boys don't have a game for 2 weeks. Some of them, they don't want that. I asked them, but I do ask the older ones, do you fancy it? And they're like, aye, I'll play. So, especially bloody Roscoe, Ross Fobbs, I say to him every Thursday, I say, do you want to miss out? He went, no, I'll play. So, I do try and get other boys a game if I can, but I'm a great believer in you pick your best team.
Aye. Guys like that are worth their weight in gold, though. Guys that just want to play all the time, and you can rely on them.
Never injured, never missed training sessions, never moan. Oh, they moan, but you know what I mean? Like, it's like these people are just, see, as a manager, I think I'm really lucky with that I've got 5 or 6 of them. And I had Bobby Barr last year as well, who was another excellent pro. Do you know what I mean? And I was unfortunate to lose him to Atherley, but he was that group, just the way that they got on with it, and they're always there. That's the thing. Being available is actually a massive,
availability is your best ability.
Telling you, it's like, I said to him when I first get the job, he's need to be tougher in terms of, like, see all these wee injuries and all that stuff. Like, you know what it was like when you're younger, you just played on and you tried your hardest. And I think they're just too easy to just no play now, aren't they? They're just like, your hammies tight and all that. You're like, come on. It's like, do
you remember Jerry McCabe?
Aye.
McCabe said to me once, Bells, there's a difference between being hurt and being injured. You know,
he's right,
and I've always remembered that.
I know, and do you know something? You can always sense it as well. Is now that you're a manager, you can just sense it when somebody's actually hurting or not. And then it's weird how they'll come off with a hammy, right? And the Saturday, don't train the Tuesday, and they're flying to the Thursday. And I'm like, can it be a hammy? It's like a hammy, you know what it's like? You're 46 weeks and you're no. And then there's obviously you do get people who are genuinely injured, but I don't know. It's one part. Even when they tell me, my physio will laugh. I just tell them, don't tell me anything. The physio, like, oh, so and so is struggling. I don't want to know. If they're injured, tell me. If they're because it just ends up creating this conversation that's pointless. Either available or you're not. So.
No, definitely. And last game we'll touch on in the first round, just quickly. Bellshill beating Larkhall 3-1. Johnny Fallon just said conditions weren't great. He expects a lot more in terms of quality and performance. Happy enough with the result. I see they signed David Donnelly. Is that right? And during the week as well, who we told you about last week. Thomas Devinek, our look manager, gave us that scoop. So if you were listening, you would have known that was coming. But Bellshill are making a real push to get into that first division.
I honestly admire Johnny's job he's done there. I think he's doing brilliant. I went to watch him last week against the Blantyre as well, just because their game was off. And he signed the boy. They took the boy Ross Marchant off us as well, who's started well. And I'm pleased for Ross that he's done that. He didn't quite work out for him with us at the start, and Bellshill really, really wanted him. So we thought maybe it's a good chance for him to move on. But they're a good side, and they're a proper hardy side, but built for that league. And I really fancy them to go and win the league. I went to. It's not always pretty, and as you know, the further you go down, but I think they'll win the league. I think they're too strong for everybody else, and obviously the big signing of the striker for Bede, and then
Callum Graham.
And they've got a great young goalkeeper as well. He's like 6'5" or something, massive. I think he's a 17-year-old. So and Johnny's a good guy as well, experienced manager, and he's level-headed, but he's always pushing his standards. He's always winning and saying he should do better, which is the old thing. But I'm sure he's happy he's got the win again.
Aye, definitely. Okay, we'll move on to round 2. I think the result that jumped out to me from these games, Adam, was Greenock going to Largs and beating them 1-0. I spoke to Gary Fleming. He just said the work ethic and togetherness was incredible. Lads knew they needed to put in a shift to get any sort of result. Conditions weren't great, as we've said. So he knew they had to anticipate setting balls, win the battles all over the park, take a chance when the moment came. And they play East Stirling away on Friday night. But great result for Gary and the guys at Greenock going to a Premier League team and winning 1-0.
Unbelievable result, really, isn't it? They actually beat us last year, and Greenock beat us in the cup as well. I thought they were excellent that day as well. But that was a surprise result. Of course, Largs are a proper outfit, aren't they? So you're kind of expecting them to take care, because they're not really. They're always getting the results they need, Largs, aren't they, at the right times. But that was a great result for Greenock. They'll be loving that one. I'd imagine they had a good night out last night after that.
Aye, definitely. And I saw Stuart Davis and Arnie's the Largs manager's interview after the game as well. He was saying that not good enough. I think he used not good enough phrase a couple of times. So he's quite clearly not happy with his troops. But I'm sure they'll come again. Another good result for lower league team, if you like, was Kilsyth Athletic, drawing 3-3 with Rob Roy. I think they were 3-0 down. Aye, they were. I spoke to Aaron Connolly, who's a coach at Kilsyth Athletic. He says we're really proud of the group. Horrible way to losing in penalties. Went toe-to-toe with a side that are far more established than our group. I think the average age was about 20. Okay. In terms of the game, Rob Roy edged the first half, but felt 3-0 flattered them at the break. They punished them. They tried to settle the boys at half-time, encouraged them to keep playing. And after an even 15-20 minutes in the second half, they took control and got themselves back level and felt like they were going to go over the line. So early in the journey, it's been reflected with some inconsistency, but proving we can be really competitive and just keep building on that. I think to have a young, inexperienced group and to find yourself 3-0 down at half-time against a team from the league above, it must have been a great job at half-time, because it could have got out of hand, and to come back and draw 3 each is really impressive.
Especially with Rob Roy, don't really concede that many goals. They're quite a stuffy team, Rob Roy. So, but I was unlucky for them. But we've got a boy in loan to Kilsyth actually played yesterday. Two boys went on loan, one came back because he wasn't quite working out. But the big centre half, Harris Gunn, plays with us, who's at Kilsyth. So I know they've been struggling a wee bit in the league, haven't they? They're not really one, but that would have been it's a kind of bittersweet day, isn't it? Because you know you've fought back, but at the same time, as I saw, we were the same with Talbot when we get beaten penalties. You're just gutted. It's such a weird feeling, because what can you do? But you're so close, but so far at the same time. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's what Thomas Devine mentioned, because they lost to Auchinleck as well. On penalties as well, they were so close to kind of taking them. But and Rob Roy, what do you think of Rob Roy this season? They've maybe not kicked on as the way that a lot of people. Have you played them? Yeah.
We drew 1 each with them, but that was the first 3 games of the season. You played Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, and they didn't have the Wednesday game, and I felt that did really play a factor in because we were 1-0 up at half time. We'd done really well, started flying. We were short in bodies a wee bit. We no excuses as such, but in terms of legs, we just kind of ran out of legs a wee bit, and they kind of finished the game strong. But I always find that the games against Rob Roy really intense, like really tough, and I don't know, they flatter to deceive a wee bit, don't they? they say they've got all the kind of right tools to do really well, but the results.
I think they finished last season so strongly. They brought in a few bodies. They finished really strongly. I think we maybe get taken in by that a wee bit and expecting them to kick on almost.
Aye, and then the result last week with the Vale Clyde one was a sore one. That I mean, because I seen it. That's a right tough place to go. That so if they've got that win, yeah, I mean that's a confidence booster. But I actually don't think their home part does them any justice. I know it sounds bad for that group. I think like their group, see on the smaller grasser parts and that, I think they could be better. I think the park's great, right, and the setup's amazing, but it's big. It's a big, huge park. So sometimes I know they don't score a lot of goals at home. So apart from that 10-0 game they scored in the Scottish Cup or whatever it was, but the league and even our game, there wasn't a lot of chances. I feel as if but I think they'll be fine. I think they'll be fine. And I know they've got talk about budgets, but they've got one of the ones that they can go and improve the squad if they can. But they've got a great group, good manager, good experience in that. So I think they'll be fine as well. But I know what you mean. They need to it's as if everybody's waiting them to go up another level and it's
a bit like I said with Kilbirnie. I felt like we were always waiting with Kilbirnie doing that, and I think Rob Roy's a wee bit. But I mean, because of the way the league is this year, they have only won one game from 8 the start of the season. The concerning thing I would say for Gibby, the manager, is the fact they've only scored 9 goals in 8 games. So if he is looking at how did he change it, because one or two wins, they're right in that top 8 spot, and then they're back in the Premier League. So job done as far as I'm concerned. But
I think they would have been trying to win the league and trying to finish in the top 3 at the start of the season. I think they would have been anyway, as you said, with the end of the season. And I think everybody, I mean, I know I did. I thought they would have been, but it's a poor start, but it's not the end of the world. There's plenty of time to recover, as you said. You win 4 or 5 games and you're up there. So I've no doubt about it that they'll get there. But there's just probably not the start they wanted. They've got plenty of good players, but maybe boys that should be doing a bit better as well. That have they hit the ground running, their new signings, maybe they need a wee bit more time and stuff, but they've got plenty of options anyway, especially in the front line. They've got a lot of pace.
It's just goals. I think just see if they just get some goals.
Jarvie started to hit the back of the net recently, and he's their kind of. I've always rated him. I've always thought he's a good striker. So I did think when he went there, it'd be a clever signing, but it's just been their thing. There's a lot of they struggle to score a lot of goals, but.
Yeah. Okay, Cumbernauld beat Maryhill 5-2. Mark Young, Maryhill manager, just says they were miles off it. He could try and blame the weather or the pitch, but it wasn't. That was another one of the surprise that was on, because Cumbernauld not normally the nicest pitch when the rain falls. But Mark says they made a few changes because it was a cup and got it wrong, so he held his hands up. Lucky to be in half time 2-1. Best start they want, getting back to 2 each, and then they crumbled in 10 minutes and the game was done. Felt bad for his goalie because actually he was great. Let down by too many passengers. Cumbernauld sliced them open with some great forward play, but as the other gaffer, you're always going to say it was too easy. Played in patches, but overall not at the races. Cumbernauld, tell me about Cumbernauld. You've been impressed with them this season?
We've not played them yet, but we played them twice towards the end of the season last year. So we played them I think it was 2 in the last 6. I might be wrong, but it was the last 8 games. I'm sure we played them twice. So it's quite, and it's all a few ex-Thorniewood boys are there and stuff. So there's the 2 games were draws. So and they were bleak and they were they weren't the best of games. So I always think it'll be a hard game, but and the experienced managers as well, and they signed decent. The big centre halves are good. Stobie and Adam Watt, good players, and I fancy them with the okay as well. I mean, I know their big strikers might be quite decent as well, but. Another team that's well built to compete this year anyway, that's for sure. A pretty standard result for them back yesterday. I didn't expect that to go another way, to be honest with you, at home. And funny enough, you mentioned the park. I actually know their chairman, and I bumped into him on Friday, and he was saying that their park's the best it's ever been there. So good. He said he was saying that. He was we've done a lot of work on it, which is great. So it's probably why they get the go ahead for the game.
That's good. We always get a bit of stick on here because we kind of lay into some teams because of what the parts used to be like. And I know there's a lot of teams have invested a lot of money and try to fix their parts, but the reputation is a reputation. So Mark, ironically, Mark's always at me because we always talk about Maryhill. They've been great. And Mark's always saying that we need to stop saying that. So come on, maybe get in touch and tell us to shut up and stop talking about it as well. So there was a game on Friday night. Yoka played Coolside Rangers. Great result for Yoker beating Coolside Rangers. Gavin Mackey, Coolside co-manager, saying the first was a bit of a non-event. Strange game with the conditions. I can't believe that game was on Friday night.
I had to double check that was actually, it wasn't the week before. I was thinking, there's a game on the night. Yeah, when I seen it on the Twitter thing, I thought, surely no.
Coolside and Yoker right in the middle of Amy. Second half, he felt they were the better team and came close a number of times, but they hit them in the break. They defended really well before scoring late on to kill the game. It's one that you're probably looking at the conditions and saying, what can you do? But from a Yoker point of view, again, beating a team from league above you, especially Yoker, a new squad as well. They've had some really good results this season. I don't know if you're clued into it, but they've had some good results. They've had some sticky patches, but they've had some good results as well.
I don't really know much about Yoker at all, to be honest with you, but I know Coolside Rangers, just because we were playing Ashfield, I looked at that game, how they get beat last week, so I kind of had a wee look at that, just ended up coming across that. So, that is a good result for Yoker. I know they've got a good, obviously they're up at Clydebank, they have that ground, don't they? And they've got a good base there, they go and build a good. We played them a couple of mid-season friendlies last year. Might be a different squad, but they were a good football team. I don't know. I don't really know much about them, but they were always a good passing team and all that. And I thought that surface is good, so they should be. Mm-hmm. So but that's a good result. Great result. It's a Friday night game as well. Anytime we play a Friday night, we get beat. So it's always a weird night to play football. I think I don't like it.
No, like Craig's just saying, at least the passengers in the flights try to land about 100 times at the game to watch underneath at Clydebank. So touching just a couple of ones before we finish, just a couple of managers that I spoke to Martin Montgomery, St Ant's manager. They lost 4-0 to Hurlford, but he said they played really well for an hour with a game plan to try and frustrate Hurlford and keep themselves in it. But eventually the game started to stretch. They were unlucky to take a chance, and then almost immediately conceded a penalty for handball in the hour, which took the pressure off them. And then Hurlford kind of deserved the win. Felt 4-0 was a wee bit harsh. Sometimes it can be frustrating as a manager when you do go to a team at a higher level and you do set up a certain way and it works, and then there's just a moment that just kills it for you. It's so frustrating.
It needs to go your way, doesn't it? I always believe your goalkeeper needs to be brilliant. Like, our two biggest results, we get beat against Talbot in penalties, but when we drew, their goalie was man of the match. And then when we got Albion Rovers, our goalie was man of the match, and it makes you look like a good manager and all that. But let's be honest, you've got a really good performance for in moments where they need to pull out massive saves. And if it goes the other way and a big team gets the nod and they get the break, then it can just go it can all kind of fall down. But you need to have, when you're up against it and you're not favourites, you need to have, I always say, at least eight playing their best. You can, their actual best, or teams are too good.
And sometimes that happens. Sometimes you've got to hold your hand up and say,
you beat after the better team. The first tip, I'd be the first tip, man. That's Rutherglen were better than us in the second half by a mile. Just better team, simple as that. Battered us in the second half. First half, we were matched them. Just walk away and there's no point dissecting it and even getting upset. You just get beaten. That's that. You've got to move on. It's football. Can't win every game. And it's good for these teams, but when they play in these cup ties, to see what level they feel they're at, or even some of the individuals that are maybe think they can get there and that. So it's what these cup games do. It gives you a wee bit of belief to know that you're not far away. Do you know what I mean?
I know. Is it frustrating from your point of view because all the cup games seem to come at one time?
I barely see, to be really honest with you. I'm quite laid back. I just want to play games on a Saturday. So whatever competition it is, I'm not really. I just like my fix. It's like an addiction going there, and I love it. Win lose. I used to get really confused when we get beat, but we were on a run and we didn't lose when I first took over for ages. And I remember thinking, what's this going to feel like? And it was the older ones in the changing room actually helped me, because I kept going back. I think it was called winning beat us 1-0, and I just couldn't get my head around it. We were shite. Oh, sorry for my language. We were poor, right? And I couldn't. But I was probably more annoyed at the performance. And then now when I look at it, I go to myself, it's not about the result. It's definitely performance for me. The results will follow. They'll definitely follow. So if you just go and enjoy your day and you perform at your best, the result takes care of itself.
So, I must admit, like one of the things I do look forward to on a Sunday when I send my message out to all the managers is as your voice notes, because they do always make me smile, because you seem like you've just got a kind of really level-headed, laid-back approach to it. You know, you're never kind of too high or too low. It's just kind of as what it is. This is what I thought about the game, and so on, and so be it. And then you move on.
I mean, you can overthink it to the point you make you unhappy. Do you know what I mean? Like, and then I'm not going to lie, if you win, like, you feel great. You go to the pub for a pint together and everybody's happy, and it's a magic feeling. And you maybe look at the highlights the next day, and I watched back that winning goal for Kilburn about 300 times. You know what I mean? You're loving it, but then Tuesday comes, and it's like you're looking forward to the next game, and you're looking at what team you're going to play, who's on holiday, who's suspended, and all that. So you've not really get much time. And as well, there's no point in thinking you're going to win everything and you're going to be this and that, and then all of a sudden you get a couple of bad results and you're back down to where you were or whatever it is. So you just need to, as I said, as long as everybody's moving in the one direction and everybody's happy and enjoying themselves, the results will come. The results will come, and then it's never been too low. I don't think, not just me, I think it's our group in general. They'll go in there moaning and shouting at each other like that. They'll just go, we get beat and that's that. So it's like, I don't know what's the point in going on it, unless it's been something. I mean, not once, I don't think, since I've been there, where I've come off thinking we've been absolutely battered or whatever, and we're really bad. It's been beat with a bit of better, somebody a striker that's better, or maybe we made a mistake or something. So as long as they give it their all and you can come off think you've done your job right, then aye, that's what it's all about for me anyway at this level.
Yeah, definitely. Right, we've got one question from Craig McGee that we'll finish with. We'll answer this, and then we'll wrap it up. So he's saying, you get any plans for next steps? You get any ambitions in management, Adam? Are you quite happy just seeing how things go? And then long-term plans at Thorniewood, plans to progress the club?
Well, to be quite honest with you, I'd never thought I wanted to be a manager or anything like that, right? But I kind of see, because of what I do for a living as well, and I kind of run my own businesses and stuff, it's kind of the same thing in a way. Do you know what I mean? So you're kind of in charge. So it's kind of, I kind of feel comfortable in the role and I enjoy it more than ever. But right now, I love Thorniewood, and I'm in love with it now. Do you know what I mean? And the group and the team together, and we really want to charge on and see what the future brings for Thorniewood. We want to try and get promoted I think it's the first time in the club's history we'd be in the Premier League ever, which would be a massive thing for us. So we're really going to push for that. There's no denying that every club is. So we're part of that group as well that are trying to get there. And for me, I'm ambitious, but I'm also patient. So there's a lot going on, and I'm just going to do it at my own speed and see what happens. But aye, it's who knows? I didn't think I'd be a manager for Thorniewood a year ago, so who knows what happens. And I wouldn't think I'd be doing a podcast as well. So here we are.
Listen, you've done amazing. So it's you've done well. We'll wrap it up there, Craig. Thanks very much for your question. But as I said, not as many games to go over this weekend, but hopefully you've enjoyed the chat, Adam. Although you were maybe nervous or whatever, it's not your thing. But thanks very much for coming on and giving us an hour on your Sunday evening. We really appreciate it.
No, thank you. And also as well, I actually really enjoy these shows as well. And I always, when I get into junior football, I never used to follow anything, as I told you this. I just used to concentrate on our team, but I quite enjoy it. And I think you do a great job with this. So credit to you guys for keeping everybody in the loop. And also managers like to hear feedback from other managers and all that. They do. They might not admit it, but they do. So it's quite it's refreshing anyway for our level. It's well done.
No, thanks very much. It's interesting you say that, with a wee comment for James McCauley, the Glasgow Uni manager, just saying he's looking forward to playing you guys in a couple of weeks. So he's obviously tuned in, trying to get a couple of nuggets for the game in a couple of weeks. So, no, brilliant. Listen, thanks very much. Thanks to everybody that's taken part, that's gave us questions or thoughts or comments. We really, really appreciate it. As we've said before, if you can hit the like button if you're watching this on YouTube, and rate and review on podcast networks if you're listening on audio form. Our sponsors are GLA Chauffeurs, Roxburgh Insurance Brokers, and of course VSN Sport. Now, if you're just a wee bit of personal news, if you're looking for some extra West of Scotland Football League content and you're not sick to the back teeth of hearing my voice, I'm going to be on Now Ayrshire Radio every Saturday from 10 till 12, where we're going to be talking West of Scotland Football League for the first hour of the show. So if you are down in Ayrshire or even out with, because you think you can get it on digital platforms, then please tune in. It'd be much appreciated. And until next week. So we talk about centre halves, Adam. 79 goals in 18 games at the level over the weekend, averaging 4.3 goals a game. So it's definitely, I can't remember the last time this statistic was under four.
I think
4 goals a game.
It's either the strikers are really good, right? The centre halves are rotten, or the goalies are rotten. It's one or the other. I don't know what it is, but I know. Honestly, that I feel as if most shots at our level go in these days. It blows my mind. I'm always like, it's just. I suppose it's great for the neutral, innit? The games are entertaining. So
that's what we always say. If you're looking for value for money, then dig out a tenner, go and watch your local West of Scotland Football League team, because they will really appreciate it. Until next Sunday at 7 p.m, I've been Jonny Baillie. He's been Adam Coakley. Take care of yourselves and each other. Cheers.
Thank you.